Parece.
3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Triad of the Forest podcast, a podcast from three Puerto Rican friends coming together to do deep dives into Star Wars and other nerd-related media. This is our Bad Batch Monday, and today we're going to be talking about Episode 4, Cornered. And before we get started, I just want to crown myself queen of your theory was completely wrong because my Fennec Chan theory was completely off base. So
it was, but I still appreciate it. That's what I was thinking about watching the episodes. Like, well, that went out the window. Pan out.
Yep. Me and
thankfully, this channel is not about scoops or known for theory. So thankfully, we're not letting anyone down because we're not telling anybody that we're guaranteeing that these are the things that are going to happen. We're just having fun. So it was still a fun theory. I was on board.
And I was totally on board. And we still have a 2/3 theory floating around that we saw a young item Versio. So that's also
a possible one as well. Yes. So we'll see. I mean, we still have how many 12 episodes left. So there's still a lot. There's still a lot that can happen.
Still development to go.
What if Fennec Chan has a twin sister? And she's
what if Fennec Chan was a clone? You don't know.
Okay, maybe not that one.
Everybody's a clone.
Everyone's a clone. Everyone's a clone.
Oh my god.
It's the pulpy clone party.
Yeah.
The pulpy clone party.
I go to that party.
I go.
Yeah. I don't think that would be a bad party.
No.
So anyway, what did we think of the episode?
Interesting. I mean, I think it was a good episode. I'm going to start by saying I think it was a good episode. However, I will say it was not as good as the last three, at least to me. I felt they pumped the brakes a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily call it a filler episode, but I would call it like a build-up episode. So I think they kind of stopped doing like the pace that they were going at to start not world building, but setting up what's going to happen in the next couple of ones. So I think it was kind of a slingshot episode in that sense, if that makes sense. Those are like my initial thoughts about it. I don't know if you guys agree with that assessment, but that's how I felt.
No, I definitely see. This is the fourth episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, we had, the first episode, which was like its own arc. Then we had the next episodes were just like, getting to know what's the dynamic going to be like between, the posting sides, the dark side, the Empire, and the Bad Batch with Omega. So now, like you said, we're getting introduced to what's coming next. It's almost like, but I kind of appreciated the slow pace. I think it gave more nuance to, like, they're just stuck together on this mission and they're trying to make the best out of it. I love like how for Omega everything is like, what is new? I'm like, everything's new. Like, even when they first tumbled with Fennec, it was you usually that's the first thing they tell you, don't trust strangers, but this stranger, like, Omega wouldn't know that. Why? Because they always been in Camino. So it's this idea of like, how does Omega like become also like humanized in a way, like learns the social interaction, the social skills. So I really enjoyed it. And we're also bringing a new like adversary, which is like probably the next antagonist. So to give that exposure to like Fennec, and obviously it's also this eventually we all know. I mean, I guess we all know, but I extrapolate this would this will tie into the Mandalorian at least like story wise, like give a backstory what might happen. So yeah, like I enjoyed that slow pace for this episode. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was even that slow pace. I mean, we had that awesome, high-speed chase at the end. The sound effects were so good, and it was visually stunning. I mean, Pantora looked amazing. I think, but it was an episode of them like trying to find their strides from this like new reality that they have, because just right from the beginning, it's like, oh, we have to hide. And Omega is like so disappointed, like, hide? I'm with the Bad Batch. Why are we hiding? And it's like, well, this is our life now. First, we have to like, you know, test the water, see how everything's going. We can't just, you know, our one little team go up against the Empire. So chill. We will explore at some point, but and yeah, at some point. And it's also them trying to come into terms with, you know, the fact that they're not soldiers anymore. They're wanted men that don't have that machinery of war on their side anymore. So, you know, back in the day, the Republic would take care of, you know, their expenses and their supplies and their refueling and all these things. And now they have to figure all those things by themselves.
Right.
And it's also how when you see like the parade of stormtroopers and everybody's like celebrating, and Omega's like, but the war's over. Isn't that a good thing? And well, it depends on what side you're on. And clearly they're not on the side of the Empire. So, you know, it doesn't actually mean that the war is over. And, you know, it's always ironic also to see how people, you know, this is how democracy dies.
With thunderous applause.
Because they're getting in line to become a number, you know, and that's how obviously you control them. You tag them, and then you change all the currency and you control all the currency. So, you know, changing it from like Republic credits to galactic credits, and people smile about it because it's like, oh, at no cost to you. Yeah, but we're kind of putting you on a database. So at no cost. Are you sure? So it's an interesting to see how that transition from the Republic to the Empire is happening from the eyes of the Bad Batch. So I still think it was a good episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting to kind of build up on what you were saying, Nani. It's kind of like the more obvious naivete, right, that we get in the show is Omega, right, because she hasn't had that experience of being like in the real world and having those interactions with people. But the Bad Batch is always also going through a naivete of their own. So in a way, they're learning how to be a part of the world for the first time, just from different points of view, and where like the Bad Batch has to like understand how to make money so they can buy supplies. And they don't know. The only way they can figure it out is to haggle with, you know, I don't know if that guy was kind of a pawn shop or something, and then trying to mislead him to think that Echo's a droid, and which kind of goes into another question of like what Echo thinks he is at this point, since he's more machine now than man, but he's clearly still a person. But then that's juxtaposed with Fennec Shand also kind of stealing the fruit, right, and giving it to Omega. So what does it mean to kind of be a bad guy, right? Because like Fennec Shand did almost exactly the same thing as a hunter did, but in a way, I think the way Fennec did it was a much more positive way, right? Because she actually helped the guy pick up all of their fruit and put them back in, and then just took one for Omega and one for herself. So in the scheme of things, she didn't really con the guy, as opposed to Hunter, who absolutely conned the guy, because the guy gave him 3,000 credits for this robot that's not a robot, and then he's like, okay, but then when we're done, you can leave. So Hunter literally stole money from this person, but he's still a good guy. So I like when Star Wars kind of does those. Droids. And but the droids, I think
droids come back.
They came back on their own.
Well, who knows? They took off the restraint bolts. They took off the restraint bolts, so who knows?
Yeah. So.
And then he also stole the speeder bike. True. But then he also stole the speeder bike from that one dude.
Yeah, it didn't took like 5 minutes for Hunter to just ride on and steal the speeder bike, and that's totally okay, you know. But that's what I like about this. It's like the moral dilemmas are you can see it's just more relativism. Is that the word? I think it is.
But well, yeah, it's all relative. Yeah.
It's the trolley problem point of view. type of thing.
It's the Obi-Wan problem from a certain point of view. Anything. And that's what this episode was. Like, from a certain point of view, the Empire is good. From a certain point of view, the Empire is bad. From a certain point of view, Fennec is morally right. That was the play of this episode, like morality.
Yeah. And then, you know, obviously, Oh, sorry, because we were talking about the dualities. Like you see how Fennec, obviously she's a bounty hunter and she's after Omega, but she also saves Omega when she's like about to fall from the tower. So you have this juxtaposition of just because she's a bounty hunter, is she actually the bad guy? I mean, she's just doing her job.
Right. Which kind of ties into her character in The Mandalorian when she's kind of helping Din rescue the child. She rescued Grogu. Grogu. Anyway, but and you see Gogurt or Jogurt. There's so many different jokes. It's amazing. But see Fennec kind of care for these youthful characters where she's trying to rescue Grogu and Mandalorian, then being nice to Omega, even though she's the target and she's, is still trying to acquire her. She's still kind to her, and especially that scene when she is kind of holding her in the tower to drop her. She's like, make sure to bend your knees, blah blah.
Yeah, like tuck and roll. Like,
hey,
it's not like a random drop. It's like tuck and roll, kid. Like
I was like, oh, that was kind of sweet. I appreciate.
I'm trying to kidnap you, but I'm still trying to keep you safe.
But I mean, but even we don't know what they told her. Like maybe she was told like, hey, this 4 guys kidnapped a tiny child. Like,
maybe
them. Like that could be the story. So
that could be the story. That's gonna be our theory of the episode. We'll see if this week it'll be disproven or not.
Fennec
but something that
saving a kidnapped child.
Exactly. But something that I got major vibes of in this episode, I don't know you guys did or the people listening to us caught on, but like I got major Attack of the Clones vibes on this episode. It was like totally that scene with, I mean, it was basically 1-to-1, right? With Fennec Shan being Zam Wesell when she's gonna, assassinate Senator Amidala, and then the ensuing pursuit through the streets of Coruscant with all the neon and the high-speed chases. Like I think the sound effects were the same. The color neon stuff was very similar, and then it was like the Obi-Wan, Anakin, Hunter group versus the Sam Wesell, Fennec Shan hunt right through the streets, which I thought was very endearing. Right, that we're still kind of accepting the prequels and being like, no, see, we do love the prequels, and we're giving it back.
We're giving it back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That felt that way. I was intrigued that at the buildings in this planet, they had like cupolas and like
very Russian.
Yeah. Had like what I was like, oh, they're trying to like aim for like a very Russian-y, which was interesting.
I know we've been to Pantora in the Clone Wars series, but I don't recall if we got to see
that scenery
cities there, because I know like it was like in a ice front like plane or something, and there was like a fight or something. I don't remember that episode too well. I don't recall if we got
How
to
dare
see
you call yourself a fan now?
Exactly. I know. The fandom man is gonna come up for us now. You don't know every single thing.
You should never go to trivia again.
I'll study for trivia. Don't worry.
I'll study for trivia. It's like,
well, anyway, we, as if people that have been listening, obviously, I'm a huge record fan, and we had some awesome record moments this episode. I loved at the beginning. It's like, you're selling my explosives, but why? It's like, dude, do you want to eat? And you can see the dilemma. Like, it's real.
Like, I love
food, it's like food
and I
versus
love
explosives.
What's more important?
It's like, damn, I guess food wins out 51-49.
And then when he shows up in the tunnels to like save Omega, and it's like, Wrecker to the rescue. It's like, you mess with the kid, you mess with me, and then massive fail. Fennec like takes him down in like one hit. It's like down. Done.
Which kind of proves that Fennec Shan is badass. She's like, you don't want to mess with her.
Well, it does. I mean, she knocked out Hunter.
Like,
she knocked out Hunter in their fight, and then she knocked out Wrecker. It's like,
but to going back to what you were saying, Nani, of her knocking out Wrecker, I think they keep setting up that something's going to happen with Wrecker and his inhibitor ship, because where did she hit him?
Getting hit.
Bam! In the head. The exact same side of the head where the chip is, where he was also kind of saying that he had the headache in the previous episode. So I think it's
so theory number 2 for this episode.
Well, I think it's theory from before. It's just like, I think this is more confirmation. Not confirmation, but more exactly. We're piling on top of our, plate of evidence, so to speak.
Mhm.
Yes, totally. And this time it had like electricity, so they may even add like, oh, he
Oh
got
yeah,
it.
Ooh,
because he
good
did
point,
hit
good
it.
point.
Yeah, yeah, and you can
Yeah.
see it like the
It's
shortage
just the
happening.
shortage,
So
so
Mhm.
mm.
It's gonna happen here.
it's gonna happen.
Oh, intense. I also loved how the Echo obviously exploring if he's like more man than machine, and then he got super upset.
Mhm.
It's like, I'm worth more than 2,000 credits. It's like, what are you doing? You're selling me for cheap, man. Like, what what is this? He looked like super upset about it.
Super
Like,
upset.
no.
Yeah, no one wants to find out that
Mhm.
they're worth
Their value.
not chump change. Hey, he got more than 2,000. He got 3, and he
Yeah.
still looked a little salty about it though. He was like,
Oh
"What?
yeah, because he wanted the 4.
I know I
at
said
least,
more
I
than
think.
2, but like, but I meant more than 5."
Yeah. I mean, should have gone with 5 to begin
Yeah.
with. So.
Right? You always overshoot so that you get what you actually want.
Yeah.
See, that's
he
the thing.
definitely
Hunter
looked
has
salty
never
about it.
haggled before, so
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
learning. They're all
Yeah, they're finding their stride. Mhm.
yeah. But they did learn how to misinform and misinterpret the situation.
that's which goes back to like perspective. Like on the one side, we think that it's fine when they do it because they're framed as the heroes of the
Good guys.
story.
Mhm.
But if but then you see the antagonist do the exact same thing, and then it's a villainous type of behavior. But these guys are doing the same villainous type of things. We just somehow are rooting for them. So I don't know if this is something that will pay off in the sense that they will, learn a lesson, so to speak, or change their ways, or if it's just something that the writers are. I wouldn't say completely unaware of, but like moderately aware and being like, I will not touch it too much because we just need to keep the story moving forward. I'm not sure, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right, I will have to.
Because I think the show is still like in a good direction. And even though I felt this episode was on the slower end of things, like I mentioned, it's slingshotting towards like a good direction where I feel it's gonna, start going hardcore now that like they're in pursuit by not only Fennec Shan but Crosshair and his squad of elite soldiers
replacements.
are in the replacements. Yeah, not Keanu though.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
John Wick crossover. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Okay, so who do we think hired Fennec?
The Kaminoans.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure that Lama Su like helped them escape.
Yeah, but the other Kaminoan was like, "Oh, we need to retrieve our property." So I think it's and I wouldn't be surprised if this is again like an Attack of the Clone parallel, where in Attack of the Clones we had Django hire Zam to assassinate Padme. I wonder if this is kind of the same thing, where it's like the Kaminoans hired Boba Fett, since they're like, well, we don't have Django bounty hunter, but we do have Boba, who is not literally, but genetically the same, and so same bounty hunter. Let's do the same thing, and then Boba's outsourcing outsourcing the job to Fennec, and that's how we get that Mando connection. But then harkening back to like George Lucas said, it's like poetry, it rhymes. So parallel situation with Attack of the Clones. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But I do not think that Fennec was hired by Tarkin or the Empire. I suspect that it's the Kaminoans.
The Kaminoans.
And maybe there might be infighting between the Kaminoans, between I can't remember their names. I'm sorry, fans. But the one that actually set them, let them escape.
Yeah.
And the other ones that are like, oh, we have to retrieve our property. Maybe there's some
infighting
rift between them, but that's my suspicion. Yeah. Which will be proved wrong, but I'm sure it will be proved wrong on Friday. Yeah.
We'll have to see Friday. Yeah, or yeah.
Almost always wrong.
but isn't that like a power in per se? Like whatever you imagine, oh, this will not happen, and then if it happens, it's like magic.
True.
I think it's called religion. It's like if it happens, it's it's God's will, and if it doesn't happen, well, the Lord works in mysterious ways. So
still the will.
Yep.
It's the force.
You're not wrong.
This is the force. That's not how the force works.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the force. It works any way you want to.
Exactly.
It works. It works. But anyway, I think we've covered the episode pretty much.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to say about it before we say our goodbyes?
No, I think at least personally, I think we hit like a lot of the big things that happened in the episode, and I think we had some good insights on some of the relationships and actions that happened there. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I think I'm happy. I think, and I wanted to. We saw like one of the same like Thrawn species at the beginning?
No, the Pantorans are different. So actually, now that you mentioned that, this is fun fact time. Sorry. Pantorans were first seen, as far as I can remember, in Revenge of the Sith, and they were played by, I'm gonna blow your mind who didn't know this, by George Lucas and his daughter. They were a little cameo appearance in Revenge of the Sith, and that scene when they're going up to the opera hall before the tragedy of Darth Plagueis, when Anakin goes into the vestibule or whatever where Palpy is sitting, you can see the two blue people, and that's George Lucas and his daughter.
I did not know that.
I did not know
and
that.
he showed that character, George Lucas, shows up in the Clone Wars. So when you were seeing that episode and you're like, that guy looks like a blue George Lucas, it's because it was.
It was a blue.
Wow. Learn
there we go.
Every day.
I think that's a good ending. Fun fact.
And the other way to tell them apart is Pantorans have like normal eyes, and the Thrawn have red eyes.
The red eyes, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Well, thank you for clarifying that.
See, you told me I wasn't a real fan because I didn't know the name of the one, but boom.
You've been rectified.
Yeah, I'm like, gotta bring it back somehow.
Oh man. And it's also important to note that this whole thing happened with Omega because she was following after a little clone trooper doll. So I thought that was like a little cute.
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to wrap up. Now we're going further. But the doll, I think, was
down
a nice
the rabbit hole.
Kudos. Yeah, it was a nice little kudos because it reminded me a lot of the doll that Jin had in Rogue One. It was like the same style of doll. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, bringing
things together.
Mm-hmm. And there was like the space reptile dog thing that Omega Pets was also from Star Wars Resistance. We also had like Clank, I think was the name of the droid that had like arms and legs, was also from Star Wars Resistance. So like there was a lot of connective tissue in this episode with a lot of the other movies and TV shows, which I think all of Bad Batch is actually doing pretty well, kind of bringing everything from Rebels, Resistance, and the movies into like this to kind of coalesce all the stuff that we've seen
and without like hitting you on the face with it. They're being pretty like in the background.
Just if you see it, you'll be like, ooh, like nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a cool detail. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not like here's another show, bang.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which is wow. But that isn't the doll another thing they stole?
Well, yeah, she totally stole it because it was on the table.
She
totally stole that. Yeah.
So everybody.
But I think she stole it by accident.
Yeah, because she was kind of holding it in her hand, and then the animal takes it. Yeah.
But I think it was Echo that like grabbed it and like touched it, and that's when she just kept walking. With it.
Yeah. But I don't think she actually meant to steal it.
Yeah, I don't think.
Which is again, it's like the three. Mm-hmm. It's like because I still remember when I was a child, I took something from Walgreens, and my mom was like, "Oh, you have to return it back." But I like, is it stealing? You just walk away. You don't know any better.
Right. Well, there has to be the intention of it's like lying, right? You're not lying if you don't know that what you're saying is not true. So lying requires the intention of deceiving. So if you don't have that intention, but you don't know what you're saying isn't true, then you are not lying, even if what you said isn't true. So I think it's more or less the same thing with the stealing, right? If like you aren't aware of like the social norm of purchasing something, and that your intention wasn't to take it for your personal gain, then I don't think you can really accuse someone of stealing. You can obviously say that they took something that they shouldn't have, But I don't think we can go as far as to say that they're a thief and they stole something. But I think that's more of a philosophical conversation, though.
Or legal.
We can go into a rabbit hole.
Or
over this.
legal. Well, but isn't,
I
guess
isn't
that's also
legality
like-
a form of philosophy, just codified? Think about it. I mean, you don't have to think about it. You already went to law school, and now you're going to be going to law school soon. So you will be informing me.
Well, anyway, I think it's really cool to just see this lens over Omega as well. It's because you know, she's seeing everything with new eyes and this awesome naivete, but you actually have to teach her about the real world because, you know, with her innocence, she's never going to survive. So it's good to, you know, be learning some things. We're going to see how like morally right or wrong they are, because she kind of learns from Fennec also, you know, like sometimes it's okay to break the rules. The Bad Batch does that too. They break the rules all the time. So it's like this line of when is breaking the rules okay and when is it not. So I don't know. I think it's going in a good direction. And
yeah, I think so too.
And they're still super fun to watch. So it's been a ride.
Yes.
Yep. It's absolutely, I mean, not to keep dragging this on, but I was watching Army of the Dead last night, and you know, it's a breath of fresh air for Zack Snyder because it's, you know, it's bright and colorful, and it's just zombies and, you know, killing zombies everywhere. And so it was a fun movie to watch, but it was over 2 hours long, and I felt it. I was like, Jesus Christ, can't this guy like optimize like his storytelling? And not that, you know, we needed to make a 1 hour movie, but come on, make it, you know, get to the point. And I think that's one of the things that I'm still always blown away by, especially watching some of the Clone Wars stuff that we've been watching for some of our episodes, and with Mando and now Bad Batch, is like how efficient they are at their storytelling. They say so much in such a limited amount of time that it feels complete without feeling like it's dragging or feeling like it's missing. I think it's an extremely good storytelling team that they have over there.
Yep, I agree. And I think with that, we are done for today, right? So everybody, we are Triad of the Force. You can find us wherever podcasts can be found. You can find us on Twitter, on Instagram. You can find us on the YouTubes. Just search for Triad of the Force and you will find us. And
the T Public, so they can get that beautiful T-shirt that you're wearing right now for trans rights or human rights. Support it and support the Triad.
And leave comments, subscribe, ring that bell, let us know what you want to hear, and be sure to check out our regularly scheduled episodes on Wednesday. So with that, I think, may the Force be with you.